Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome, everybody, to Culture Clash Live. Now, this is a little something new. We're going to explain everything that's going on. I'm sure everybody's going to be hopping into the chat soon. We kind of sprung this on you guys short notice. This is a YouTube exclusive content, and this is going to be a reaction show. So before I get anywhere, we are going to have massive spoiler warnings because on this episode of Culture Clash Live, we are doing a reaction show to Chapter 6 of the Book of Boba Fett. That right there, Book of Boba Fett. Just so we're clear. But I can't do this alone. And I need the man who actually sprung this idea on me, and I got to give him full credit for that. The one and the only, the co-founder of the Fandom Podcast Network, the Raider nerd, Mr. Kevin Reitzel.
What's up? What's up? Sorry, I was cleaning in the depths of Jabba's palace. I'm officially licensed here for the waste technician, and I don't know if you can tell, but I'm Rancor level. So yes, I do have to clean up after Boba's new pet.
Well, and I'll leave that up to you. I get host duties this week, so yeah, we're good. So, Kevin, we got something new here with Culture Clash. We're trying some new things, trying to mix it up a little. We got a Culture Clash Live, but it's YouTube exclusive, and it's something we're going to start doing going forward. Explain to people, because you're the one who started this ball rolling. Explain to people what we're going to be doing here.
Yeah, well, obviously we want more YouTube interaction and more content as well. We want to give you guys more YouTube stuff because people are hitting up YouTube. But more importantly, we want to be able to provide a platform here on the Fandom Podcast Network for instant reactions of whatever hot new show or movie has come out. And nothing's hotter than Book of Boba Fett, specifically the recent episodes and the most recent one, which we're going to get into. And so we want to basically let people, if they want to interact with us on YouTube, shout out their questions or whatever, and hear us talk about our reactions to the show. Because what's most important here is that we want to give a platform to everyone to be able that wants to talk about it right away, a chance to do that. But also, we want to let people know that this is just our instant reactions. If you want to get into a deep dive into the most recent episode of Book of Boba Fett or anything Star Wars, later week, check out our What a Piece of Junk podcast on the network that's hosted by Scott, Nathan, and Derek, and they're going to go much more into a deep dive.
That they are, and it's a great show. Not only do they deep dive about Book of Boba Fett, they talk about everything else that's going on in Star Wars. But with this show here, we're going to try to keep it tight, one topic, and go on from there. And then we will have regular Culture Clash shows still where we're having our fun with our segments and things like that. But we got one topic and one topic only this week, and that is the Book of Boba Fett, because we had a major episode. It is the Book of Boba Fett, or is it the Book of the Mandalorian? That's the big internet debate right now, Kevin.
Haven't heard that before.
I think we've heard it everywhere. But you know what? It's time to get into, yes, the Book of Boba Fett. From the desert comes a stranger, and what a stranger it is. But Kevin, before we get started with that, you want to give the listeners out there a quick rundown of what happened in the latest episode of Book of Boba Fett?
Before I do, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the Fandom Podcast Network. Give us some love there. And please just hit like. That helps us with the algorithm. Just like you hear on YouTube all the time, it helps us out. So please help us out. Yes, our quick episode plot synopsis on episode 6, From the Desert Comes a Stranger. On Tatooine, Cobb Vanth, Marshal of Freetown, formerly Mos Pelgo, confronts and shoots Pike Spice Runners. Din flees to a forested world to visit Grogu and is greeted by R2-D2. As Jaren rests beside a new Jedi temple, Luke Skywalker trains Grogu in the use of the Force. Skywalker helps a youngling to remember his home, who recalls fellow Jedi dying during Order 66. Din Djarin finds Bo-Katan, who leads him to Grogu's location. Since Grogu's bond with Din may hinder him, Tano elects to hand the armorer's gift to the youngling, while the Mandalorian returns to Tatooine. While with Skywalker and Tano watching, Grogu dodges shots from a training remote and jumps around and learns how to do some, jumping with his Force and everything like that. So cute, so cute. At Fett's palace, the crime family discusses their manpower shortage. Jarn goes to Freetown to enlist Vanth and his people. Promising to help, Vanth sees Din off. After Din's departure, Cad Bane arrives in town upon being enlisted by the Pikes. After a standoff, Bane shoots both the marshal and his deputy. 2 Pikes later bomb the sanctuary in Mos Espa. In the temple, Skywalker allows Grogu to choose Din's gift and to stop his training, or Yoda's lightsaber and to be trained as a Jedi. Whew. Lot to pack in there, Kyle, man. First reactions to seeing this, man. But hold on. Were you spoiled before you watched the episode?
After the last week, I knew. I was like, yeah, I need to see this right away. So luckily I have 2 furry alarm clocks. They would be the FPNet mascots, Tummy and Stripesy, but they made sure their dad was waking plenty of time to watch Book of Boba Fett that morning. So I watched Book of Boba Fett and was absolutely mind blown. And I'm gonna throw a hot take out right now. This is the best Star Wars I've watched since the original trilogy.
Yeah, wow. First of all, I was up at 1:30 in the morning, and what's funny too. Actually, no, excuse me. That was last week. I had Wednesday off from work. So I actually slept until 3.
Ooh.
That's a lot for me because usually I'm at work by 3:30. Watched the episode, didn't get spoiled, enjoyed it. But yeah, man, that's a bold statement. However, it's probably true. I mean, there is recency bias. Don't forget there's Rogue One out there. Another fan favorite of the newer era. And of course we had season 2 of Mandalorian, but it was quite amazing. We saw a lot of stuff come together that we've dreamed, that we've talked about. Cad Bane making his appearance, seeing Luke and Ahsoka together and having a conversation. Man, it was just mind-blowing. And I was just a little kid back. That feeling kind of like watching Return of the Jedi and Star Wars for the first time and Empire Strikes Back. It just brought me back, and I tee-heed and I giggled.
Yep. No, I mean, I was so mind blown by what I saw. It was absolutely amazing. And we got a lot of feelings and things to talk about with this. So let's dive into it, Kevin. But before we dive into some of our main topic discussions, you picked up a little trivia on this episode you wanted to get out there.
Yeah, it's funny. When I saw this scene, I'm like, okay, I know this is from a movie. So when the Pikes go in and sit down with the Camtono, what we find out is a bomb, and kind of, sit for a little bit and then take off. It is an homage to the corner shot bomb scene in the 1987 movie, The Untouchables. And if you remember correctly, the guy has I think it's like a shoe shine box or something or whatever it is. It looked like that. And he turns a little timer on and he walks out. And unfortunately, the little girl picks it up and starts, "Hello, Mister," and the shot blows up. So, and there's a lot of questions on who's actually dead or not. So we'll maybe touch on that. I brought this up just because I thought it was one of the coolest things. Is it just me, or are Jawas starting to pimp out now, man? I mean, you got the last episode where the Jawas are talking with Peli and Mando and getting stuff for his hot rod. Now their Jawa transport has got the skull of a crate dragon on top of it, which obviously is probably they probably bought from Pelgo, or bought from, not Pelgo, but from I don't know, the people that killed it, I guess. I don't know. What do you think?
Okay, first of all, let's just address this. The indigenous citizens of Tatooine are coming out smelling like roses after the Book of Boba Fett, because the Tusken Raiders had some image help with this show, and now the Jawas, who we're learning are also a little freaky, might we add as well. But the Jawas are coming out great thanks to the
they're wheelers and dealers, man. For them to get the skull of that dragon and just start cruising around Tatooine on their ride, that's kind of like those guys that put those big horns on the at the front of their Cadillac or something like that. It's just great. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Now, Kevin, if you don't mind, I want to talk about this next piece of trivia because
sure,
to me, how this was presented was just mind blowing to me. For the first time ever, we get Ahsoka and Luke Skywalker together on screen communicating, and they treated it like it was, oh, hey, no big deal. They're just having a little chat, just a couple old friends talking. I'm like, are you kidding me here? That was one of the most, I think that was the most mind-blowing thing of this episode outside of seeing Grogu again.
The only thing that was missing was like a chai tea latte in Ahsoka's hand and maybe like some, cold black coffee in Luke's hand. Like it was that casual, It was great. It was great. Yeah. But yeah, this was the first time on screen that Ahsoka and Luke appeared together and interacting with each other. And this is something that I thought we weren't going to get until Ahsoka, the Ahsoka series, which
if we got it at all. If we got it. And the crazy part is that we have still yet to see the actual meeting of Ahsoka and Luke. I mean, the first time they met.
Gosh, hey, we got someone in the chat. We got our friend Carl. He says, "Good evening, guys. Good to see you there, Carl. Feel free to go ahead."
I was gonna say also our good friend Jedi Jones in the room. So
nice. Good evening. Please throw your thoughts out regarding, and keep in mind this is all spoilery stuff. If you've seen it, please ask your question, throw some thoughts up, and we'll throw them up on there and mention them. So please interact with us. We love it.
And just once again, for those of you out there who might be watching, yes, we are.
Did that top the show? We're going to keep doing it.
Spoilers ahead because, we're going to be, there's so much in this episode. Carl's throwing out that was his favorite part, just those two interacting. Ahsoka goes to leave, and I'm like, no, stay.
I know. It's like, hang around, girl, man. Like, let's talk here, Tell some stories about good Anakin.
Yeah, and I agree with Jedi Jones. Luke and Ahsoka, mostly going to probably be reserved for her show herself. I just got to give a quick shout out. Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka is just wonderful casting. It was when they first announced it to me, and she's just nailing it because she's got that kind of laid back delivery for Ahsoka that I think is, and it just works so very well. So Luke and Ahsoka on screen, big deal, but they low-keyed it on us, Kevin, without a doubt.
I know. Oh, by the way, a friend of mine, Jeremy, he was wondering how they can leave questions on the live YouTube. I should just go to the YouTube section and look under comments and just click on it. You'll see the window open up. You can type what you need to say in there. So hopefully that'll help. We'd to hear from you, Jeremy.
Yep, it's always good to hear from you.
All right, so next segment, man, we're getting the meat of it, man. Uh-oh.
Yep.
All right.
Excuse me for a second. I had one of our mascots. They snuck into the room on me when I wasn't looking, so I apologize to our listeners. But they're furry. They're cute. You can see one of them behind me here. So,
you got it flirting.
So now, do we think? Okay, so Carl's asking, do we think that area was the Jedi Temple or a random shelter? I'm thinking it's the academy. He say it's the academy, so I don't think it was Luke's Jedi Temple, but I think it was the start of the Jedi Academy there. So
yeah, I think it's a start. It's one of more than one location is what I'm gathering. So yeah.
So
I saw an astute fan kind of put the picture of the new one that we just saw against the background of the old one from the sequel trilogy, and I think it's a different thing because if you got that many worker droids, there are probably a bunch of them over there. They probably even built like out 50 yards over. They probably built like a bathroom. So
yeah, I love this. Is it me or does Grogu hopping resemble the paperclip from Windows?
Oh yeah. God, that annoying little guy. Like, how do I get that off my screen? So yeah. All right, so Kyle, let's head into the main segment.
He was good friends with Jennifer Aniston, though. So
that's true. Deep cut.
So okay, let's go into our three primary topics for this. Kevin, the characters return. It was the whole toy box of Star Wars characters. We had Luke, we had Cobb Vanth, we had Ahsoka, and of course the man himself, Grogu. I don't know. I want to start. Let's just start with how they came on the screen, and let's start with Cobb Vanth. Anytime I can get Marshall Raylan Givens on my Star Wars screen, I am incredibly happy. Timothy Oliphant returning as Cobb Vanth, the fastest draw in the galaxy, maybe.
Okay. I know people said, "Oh, he's straight out of playing his character in Deadwood / Justified." I got a response to that. I don't care. He is so darn cool. And also, he's the only reason why my fiance and soon-to-be wife, Erin, is going to actually watch this episode. She might be crushing on it a little bit. I might be crushing on it a little bit. Come on, man. He is so cool. Timothy Oliphant. I just love the way that he squares down on those pikes and shows them what the deal is. You know, yes, he met his match later, but man, is he cool. Even that scene when he's just like chatting with Din, you know, about helping him, you know.
Yeah. Well, two things. One, as Kevin Smith has said many a time, I could watch Timothy Oliphant and listen to him just read a phone book and it would be cool. But I love that line he has. Well, you know what sells it, Mando? The smile on your face. You know,
yes,
that great line. So that was.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it was just so cool to see him in that setting. See him after he had given up the armor, being the marshal, but still being a badass. I mean, still being the quickest draw on Tatooine, and just how he handles the 4 pike at the beginning and leaving the one alive to deliver the message and then kicking over the spice and letting it go into the desert again.
That guy has
such
virtue.
A cool scene.
That guy has virtue. He has honor. He is not corruptible. And I love that he is setting that.
Yeah. Carl says we need a Cobb versus Cad showdown figure set.
Oh God, yes.
Black Series.
Oh my God, yes. That would be so cool. Take my money, please. All right. Well, speaking of, we got a next topic.
Yep. Well, let's tell. So we got more people to talk about now. Okay, so we talked about Cobb Vance, but we've got Luke. Did we think we were going to see Luke this soon again?
No. Were we just talking on what a piece of junk last week? Like, were we going to see Grogu in this episode? And we were like, no. We're going to see Luke. No, maybe. I don't know. We saw Luke, dude. And how good did that de-aging look with the deep fake or whatever it is they're using? Did they hire that guy finally? Was he the one working on Luke's face? I don't know. But it was fantastic. Didn't take me away from it at all. And just, man, he looked good.
I actually think the technology got better in this episode than even in the season finale of The Mandalorian last year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Even Carl agrees with us.
Yeah. Yeah. Insane CGI advance. And this means that we have the possibility to bring characters back and have younger versions of them. And I know we're going to be seeing this in the new Indiana Jones film. There's rumors that Mr. Harrison Ford might be doing a little side job for the Star Wars side of Disney. We will see. There's rumors.
Anything's open. Of course, we've talked a little bit about Ahsoka, but it's just so great having Rosario Dawson on our screen as Ahsoka. I'm happy to see it anytime. Wasn't expecting it in the slightest, and just that heartwarming feeling of having Ahsoka. And Kevin, we got to talk about it. The man is back. Grogu. We weren't sure. A lot of people thought yes. A lot of people thought no. They're going to save it for season 3 of The Mandalorian. Grogu is back, and it's like you lost your puppy and he came back home again.
And I just get the feeling that yes, this was part of marketing. I don't care. We can't go too much longer without seeing where Grogu is, and I'm glad that we got that. But we got the training sequence, the one-eyed frogs. I mean, him learning how to run and jump, and it was just, really, really cute. It was great to see our buddy Grogu, or Baby Yoda, as I still call him.
Carl chimed in. You're Han Chewie in the final episode. People will lose their collective minds. It's going to be interesting. I don't think we're going to get Han and Chewie in the final episode, but we'll get to that. Okay, let's talk about our second topic. Is that it's Cad Bane, Kevin. We had speculation. We weren't like, this is a good place to introduce him. Really, does anything need to be more to be said? It's Cad Bane.
Gosh, dude. And the way he made his entrance, and as soon as I saw him, I'm like, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. They did. The first live action appearance of Cad Bane, but more important, voiced by Corey Burton, who did him in the Clone Wars.
Absolutely. And this is all Dave at work. He's not gonna let somebody else voice Cad Bane. Not a chance.
I love the teeth and everything, though. I kind of wish there was the toothpick, though. That would have been kind of cool. But still, man, just looked absolutely good. And for those of you that are wondering, or maybe didn't know, little trivia: the legendary entrance of Cad Bane from the desert is reminiscent of Sheriff Ali's entrance in David Lean's Lawrence of Arabia from 1962. What an entrance. Do you think that he parked his ship on where he was supposed to park, where the deputy told Din? Is that what I see him?
Cad Bane just does what Cad Bane wants to do. But I do want to say this, though. It's setting up a very cool possibility because there was that great fight between Cad Bane and Fennec from the Bad Batch. Where Fennec kind of got the one up on Cad Bane. So if we have round 2 of that live action on Book of Boba Fett, I'm all in for that. Let's get that happening right now. Let's set up the Thunderdome. That's what I'm saying.
Jedi Jones, can you put up his comment? And then I want you to put Carl's comment up there again real quick regarding Cad. It says, Cad Bane was far creepier than I thought he would be. He is. Live action, there is something creepy, especially with the teeth, all pointy. And he's like, yeah. And then, Jedi Jones says the Cobb versus Cad felt like that unfinished Boba and Cad stuff from the unfinished Clone Wars. I remember seeing this live, and I'm going to bring that up a little bit later, guys, because I want to talk about that. Thank you for bringing that up. That was really, really cool. But dude, this is one of the people we're hoping that would see, but I honestly didn't think that we would get.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I didn't think this would be somebody that we would see in live action Star Wars, but I'm happy we did. But I also want to talk about what ties in with all of that, Kevin. And that's the end of this episode of Book of Boba Fett, because the Pikes make their move and they make it big time. Because not only do we see Cad Bane show up, definitely take out the deputy. I think a Cobb was just winged, and that we're not. Those of you who are panicking,
it looked like kind of a shoulder hit or something, but
and they were like treating him on the shoulder. So,
and real quick, if you do watch the episode with the subtitles, you see what they're saying that you can't actually hear. They're about getting a med pack and stuff like that. So I think he's going to survive.
Yeah. So we have that, but we also go back to the sanctuary, Kevin. And no, they did my girl wrong, Kevin. They did my girl wrong.
Did your girl wrong? Ahsoka?
Yeah.
What?
No, not Ahsoka. Sanctuary.
Sorry,
man.
Yes. Sorry.
we saw, and I knew it was coming as soon as the Pikes walked into the club.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I'm hoping she had like a safe room or something she dove in or something. She's still alive because she's too interesting a character. We have not even touched the full scope of.
It looks bad for Garza because the bomb blew up behind her. Which is really bad. Unfortunately, that robot's toast. But the bigger question, Kyle, we brought it up on our old What a Piece of Junk chat amongst the guys, is whether or not Max Rebo survived. And I went over that scene. I did not see him. And I just want to mention that where he normally is, there was a second Biff, Figure, and Dan type guy, but playing a horned instrument where normally it's a guitar player and the droid drummer. I did not see Max Rebo there. So I think either it was his night off, he survived, or maybe he's working with the Pikes. Who knows?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I think episode 7 we'll get into that, but I do think we're going to see a lot of that play out in episode 7. Kevin, topic 3. Grogu's choice, not Sophie's choice, mind you. Grogu's choice.
Yeah.
And what a choice it is. And my roommate watched this episode. I got to throw this out there. And I kind of agree with him. And I'm not going to use the exact wording he did, but he thought it's really stupid that Grogu even has to make the choice in the first place. He should be able to have both. There's not. Yeah. And Luke Skywalker, a little hypocritical here, maybe. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I've heard some other opinions on this, and I thought that, I don't want him to start spewing the old Jedi dogma that kind of made them chase their own tails and blind to what was really going on. I think that Jedis in the future should have some attachment. It makes them stronger. Have the family part of it, be part of it. And that whole attachment thing, if I had one complaint about the episode, is I hope that he would kind of like maybe embrace that a little bit. But to make it more interesting, though, you have to write the choice in to see what happens. Maybe that changes later. Maybe this is something that makes him open up his eyes going, maybe he needs to be with Din, and maybe that will make him a stronger Jedi. What was that comment that you just threw up, Kyle, there?
Jedi Jones was just throwing up, talking about our Cobb conversation, that Cobb Light, the deputy, is definitely dead, but Cobb is just next. I like the Cobb Light reference.
Cobb Light, yeah.
And then he's like, and they did his girl, Jennifer, Filoni did her dirty.
Yeah. that's a good point. Yeah. But anyway, regarding Grogu and the choice, there is that weird Jedi stuff that I'm not happy with Luke repeating. I hope that doesn't happen. I think that Jedis need to be with family, and hopefully that will make a bigger strong. But maybe there'll be a change. I don't know. Thoughts?
Okay, so two things on the Luke thing real quick. First of all, I say hypocritical Luke because this is the same guy who just bailed on Yoda and Obi-Wan in his training to go help Han and Leia in Empire Strikes Back. So yeah. Let's not talk about attachments, man. I actually think there's an interesting story that could be worked on here. Could we be seeing the mistakes Luke made as a young, trying to basically bring back the Jedi Order by following by the book Jedi rules when he really shouldn't have? He is trying to follow the path of the Jedi, but it didn't work for the Jedi the last time around. So he, instead of making adjustments and realizing, yes, attachments are something you need to keep you balanced, he's falling by, and maybe that's, I hate this. I don't want to, it kind of leads into maybe some of the things that happen later on in the sequel trilogy, why Luke ends up the way he is, because he feels he failed teaching to Jedi, and we're starting maybe to plant the seeds of that. And I think it was interesting. That was a thought that crossed my mind with that.
Yeah, it's interesting to see where he as a teacher has to learn as well, because when does he find those books? When does he find those Jedi teaching things? And I guess that happens in the sequel trilogy when Han kind of makes reference to, Luke is trying to find the Jedi Temple, and maybe that's where he finds these books. I'm hoping that we'll learn more of his journey of trying to teach stuff. But better yet, it would be really cool, and we might be setting it up, Kyle. Maybe this is where Ahsoka comes in going, hold on. I had to turn my back on the Jedi because of this dogma or whatever it is, this rut that they were in, because they turned their back on me and didn't look at the bigger picture and help me. So maybe you need to reevaluate yourself and how you're teaching. And maybe Grogu is a good example to start with. That's where I hope Ahsoka comes in to help guide Luke, since Ahsoka was there in the beginning and saw all that crap go down. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's interesting. I think it's a good point there, and it's gonna be interesting to play out, because I think this is something that will be addressed in the Ahsoka series, especially if a certain Mr. Bridger also comes back. I think that's going to be very interesting. Jedi Jones throws in, I see what you mean, Kevin, but with where we are in the timeline, especially going where we are going, it's going to be a learning curve, and really Luke's attachments, you're one to talk, and so he's nailing the nail. I mean, it's a
good point.
But let's talk about Grogu's choice, Kevin, because I'm pretty sure I know what it is. I'm pretty sure I think I know what it is. I'm curious to see if we're on the same page. So I'll go ahead and say I think he chooses the armor. I think his attachment to the Mandalorian is too strong, but I think he finds a way, being the sneaky little guy he is, because we know how he likes macaroons and all that good stuff. He finds a way to get the lightsaber too.
Well, he's got to learn how to use it first. That's the thing. And I don't know if he's going to join Din, in the struggle of Tatooine or whatever, but you just can't give a lightsaber to someone who doesn't know how to use it. So,
who says it's going to be given to him? Who says it's going to be given to him?
Yeah, I know, right?
He can
Yeah,
hide a lot of cookies in that little blue food in that robe of his. So
I think, and that's something we speculated on, that the thing is, Din doesn't want to end up with the Darksaber. I think he's going to end up with Grogu as a Mandalorian foundling, and join him in that journey. And then eventually, I think the Darksaber may fall into Boba Fett's hands, and hopefully, we'll see him unite Mandalore or Mandalorians. That's just one of the theories out there. That was one of the ones that I liked personally.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to end up in Boba's hands. It might end up in the characters we've not seen yet hands.
Possibly.
So let's not forget an older Sabine Wren is still out there too.
Yeah. And Carl says Ahsoka knows what it's like to turn away from the Jedi. Yes, she does. So I think that's where I hope she has influence with Luke and saying, look, I saw where Jedi went wrong. Trust me on this.
So that kind of hits our main topics of the show. Chat, if you have anything else you want to bring up, please feel free.
We're not done yet.
Well, no, we're not done yet. Clyde, welcome to the show, Clyde Leonard. Grogu chooses the armor, but Luke will give it to him because Ahsoka talks him into it. That's a very distinct possibility.
Before you go on, Kyle, I forgot the one thing I wanted to talk about with Cad Bane, guys. And I think it was Jedi Jones that mentioned earlier. And I was actually at this panel at Star Wars Celebration where they were showing concept art of what the new seasons of the then canceled Clone Wars was going to happen. This was before they decided to let's finish this off with season 7. They showed a famous duel, like a animated mock-up of Boba Fett going against Cad Bane in a draw, both shooting at each other, and Boba Fett's dent in his helmet became a reality then because of Cad Bane. And I'm wondering if that's going to be addressed in the Book of Boba Fett when it, and hear me out here. You know that Weequay bartender that was attending to Cobb Vanth? He was looking at Cad Bane like he knew who he was or he recognized him. I could be wrong in speculating, but I guarantee you that Fennec or whoever or Boba Fett himself are going to go, oh, we got Cad Bane back. And then Boba Fett looks at his helmet. That would be really cool. Maybe we don't actually see that scene, but if he can look at that helmet and tell that story, like this is why I've got the dent or something like that, that would be cool. Thoughts?
It's a very distinct possibility. With Dave, you never know where he's going to pull and grab something. So we just don't know. But
by the way, chat, if you can just do us a favor, just hit like for us. That'd be nice. Just help us out a little bit. Throw us a bone.
Yeah,
appreciate it. And
subscribe if you haven't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's time for a new segment here on this Culture Clash Live. Something we're going to do here. Everybody throws out their hot takes. We have them too. But you know what? When we throw out our hot takes, there's only one way to be sure. And that's with the Orbital Bomb. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to unleash some bombs.
The Orbital Bomb at Hot Topic.
Yeah, again, and it's the only way to be sure. So, Kevin, I got to swing the bat first here because I think yours kind of complements what I'm going to talk about here. All respect to George Lucas. I love George. We don't have Star Wars without George. But are we to the point now where Dave Filoni has done more for the story of Star Wars than what George did? I mean, Clone Wars, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Bad Batch, Rebels. I think you mean building the universe, galaxy building type of character development, stuff like that. George gave us the heartbeat of the Skywalker saga, but Dave has expanded it out immensely, adding all of these other elements. Yes, there's George influence there. He was George's Padawan, shall we say? But at this point, has Dave done more for the expanded Star Wars universe than George ever did for just Star Wars? I think go ahead. I was just gonna say I don't mean in any disrespect to George. It's just what I'm thinking here.
There's an argument to be made there. And this reminds me of the comment that I made on social media after season 6 of the Clone Wars. In my honest opinion, the most flushed out character, the most developed character has been Ahsoka, because Ahsoka has had all of the seasons of the Clone Wars, and now the the Bad Batch, whatever she's appeared in. And I think that now live action, she's had so much development from, being a young Padawan, kind of being annoying at first. She wasn't everyone's favorite, but because she developed into this awesome character and this awesome hero with, and having the Jedi turn their back on her and all this kind of stuff. This is the type of thing that lends to what your argument is Kyle, and what he's done. He's definitely George 2.0. And he's taken the ball and literally run with it. George has only had 6 movies, right? With his influence. When you put all of the time and the stories that Dave Filoni has contributed to, time-wise, it's more than 6 movies. So you have an argument there.
Yeah. Carl just weighed in on this. Filoni has introduced new canon and filled in a lot of gaps. I still think he needs to do a full-length movie to cement his throne. I can give you that one. He hasn't done a full-length movie.
Good point, Carl. Yes.
That's a very good point.
Yes. And I think it's coming. I don't know why it's not happening yet, but yes, he needs to do a movie first to really kind of step, because, when you do a movie, that's kind of like that's stepping up to the big boy chair. And I think Carl's right, but you do have an argument to start on there, Kyle. So yeah.
But wait, Kevin, we're not done yet, because you got a hot take bomb too.
Yeah, my orbital bomb hot topic is this. All right, hear me out, guys. I know those that love the sequel trilogy and those that are not fond of the sequel trilogy. Got a question for you guys. Got to throw it out there. Has Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni proven that the history of the sequel trilogy can now be challenged, maybe retold in the future? And I bring this up because there was that famous quote that JJ said, that you can't really write Luke Skywalker into this story because he overshadows everyone else and there's no character development. I'm paraphrasing, basically. All right. And Kathleen Kennedy has gone on to saying this is the end of the Skywalker story. And the biggest complaint from the sequel trilogy is how our OG characters were treated, specifically Luke Skywalker. And that was my biggest issue with the sequel trilogy, personally. And when we got the reintroduction of Luke at the end of season 2 of Mandalorian, we were proven right to a certain degree for those of us that were disappointed with how Luke was portrayed in the sequel trilogy. It wasn't the hero that we wanted, didn't go out the way we wanted. We didn't get the 3 together. Now with what's going on now with the Book of Boba Fett and, of course, Mandalorian, and the way that they're writing Luke Skywalker and how, the other characters around him while he's there aren't being outshined, but it's just genuine Star Wars. We're all just loving it. And it's just, is there a possibility that the sequel trilogy can be challenged and or rewritten, or at least something to where something else is told and accepted for those that would prefer something different?
Okay, can I throw a little spin in on this?
Of course, yeah.
So one of my arguments with the sequel trilogy has always been it wasn't earned. The story wasn't earned. So what I think Dave and John, I don't think they're going to eliminate the sequel trilogy or even necessarily challenge it, but they're going to make it earned. We're going to see I think they are planting the seeds to start the path of where it went wrong for Luke, to where at least we feel like when we watch The Last Jedi, we feel like we've earned the story of Luke to where we got.
That's a great point, because we had brought that up. We're like, why is Luke the way he is? Why, it feels like it was just a cop-out just to kind of write these guys off. Whether I like that story or not in the future, you might be right. They're going to try and bridge that. Clyde Leonard, by the way, says even Mark Hamill hated the character in the movie sequels. Yeah, I know he's gone on record saying that he disagreed with the way it happens, but I don't want to see that turn to that grumpy old Luke. I want to see something more, at least through this era of the Mandoverse. Maybe there's an area that they don't touch, and I can still, in my head canon, think that I'm going to get a different Luke later on personally. But I don't know. Kyle?
I think the aspect of it here is this, Kevin, is that if they take this approach to where they're going to try to pay it off, I also think it makes that scene in The Last Jedi where Luke kind of redeems himself, projecting his Force ghost against Kylo Ren. It makes that much more impactful. And I think what you've got is you've got some good storytellers in the here and the now, telling a story of Luke, seeing the Luke we want to see, the hero Luke,
right,
and then paying off what was told, because they're going to have connective tissue, something the sequel trilogy didn't have.
Yeah, it's interesting. Clyde also said when R2 shut down with Din in episode 6, that was a nod to the sequels. Do you think when R2-D2 shut down, he actually stayed shut down till episode 7 and they just put a tarp over him for 30 years?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, who knows? Carl chimed in. The last 2 episodes have made me even more excited for the show Obi-Wan. I'm curious about Obi-Wan. Point. I'm still very excited about Andor personally because I love Rogue One. I'm really excited to go back to that world, but I'm very curious with what they're going to do with Obi-Wan. But I am watching the clock, Mr. Wright. So we made a promise about time when we started these Culture Clash live shows, and we are going to try to stick to it. But we're going to take real quick, Kevin. Throw me your thoughts out. What do you think we're going to see in episode 7, the final episode, at least of this season of the Book of Boba Fett? We don't know yet if we're going to get more or not.
Okay, I just want to reiterate one thing now that we're on this platform, we get the chance to do so. I have said from the beginning in the beginning few episodes of the Book of Boba Fett that they're laying the seeds of a larger world. And when we got that episode of The Mandalorian where Boba Fett didn't make his appearance, I said that this isn't about, that Boba Fett wasn't in this episode, so it was a good episode. The people that aren't enjoying the series because of the way the story is laying out and it's feeling disjointed or whatever, it's being picked apart. You guys have all seen it. You guys have heard it. Maybe you feel that way, and that's fine. I appreciate your opinion. But I said this is a bigger picture. These are called chapters of a large book, and this is the chapter of Boba Fett, and we need to see how he is going to tie into the Mandoverse. So therefore, you have to have the crossover of Mando and Ahsoka and Luke, because this is all part of the bigger picture. They're all going to be jumping into their own stories because they are laying the grounds out for a much larger story, a much larger book, to where we're going to get this huge confrontation to maybe a movie or something like that, which has been teased already by Kathleen Kennedy herself. How it's going to be done, we don't know. Movie, large, miniseries, whatever. Grand Admiral Thrawn's still out there. Ezra's still out there. The underworld is still out there. We got a lot of struggles for our heroes. And so therefore, not having Boba Fett hardly in his show in the last couple of episodes, it's not a bad thing. And I don't think that it's right to say that just because I'm not agreeing with the way the story's being told, and I don't like the pacing, I don't like the mods, whatever it is, just take these little parts all together and just mash it all together and let them be in each other's stories and crossover, because they're all going to be part of the bigger thing. You got the Mandalorian arc that they have to deal with. And I think that this is really, really important. So looking ahead, Kyle, they've already thrown everything out that we weren't expecting. I have no idea. But I tell you this right now, we're not going to get an ending that's going to go, that was satisfying. Wonder what they're going to do next. We're going to get like a cliffhanger or something. I know we are. We're going to get a launch into either Book of Boba Fett season 2 or coming next on season 3 of a Mandalorian or whatever. The stuff that's happening on Tatooine is not going away. We're going to see this again. And Boba Fett is trying to grasp a little part of Tatooine here because it represents power. and he's trying to, whether he wants to be the gangster or not, I don't think he does, but he realizes it's important to have a hold on Tatooine in the bigger picture. And maybe it'll end up in Fennec Shan's hand, whatever. But there's much, much bigger adventure for Boba Fett, and that's what they're laying the seeds for, and it involves his friends.
Okay, so Kevin, I'm going to be open with the listeners. Kevin and I have had a little debate about this going for a few days, and it's not that I don't think Kevin's right in the aspect of the bigger story. And I completely agree with him on that. He is 100% right. The bigger story is really what's matters here, and how great these episodes have been. The other thing I'm going to throw out real quick is the Book of Boba Fett since episode 5 has not been the Book of Boba Fett. And in the way our society is now and how we see things, it's kind of like thinking the comparison I use, and I'm going to use this one for you, Kevin. It's like going to see watching Highlander for 2 or 3 episodes and Duncan MacLeod's in it for a minute. And that's kind of what's happened here. You've taken your main character and you've kind of just made him a side character. A side character is own. And I think they could have balanced it out just a little better. But that's not saying that it's horrible, because it's not. It's very, very good things. And I just had a Lothcat interrupt me. But it's a phenomenal Star Wars. It's, like I said at the start of the show, it's the greatest Star Wars I've seen since the original trilogy. I have no problem saying that. I just think when you're advertising it as the Book of Boba Fett, but you don't have Boba Fett in it, when your main character is in it for less time than he was in Empire Strikes Back, something doesn't feel right there.
I challenge you to look at the other side of the marketing of this and the bigger storytelling.
Oh no,
I've tried to convince you of that, and you're not having it, and I disagree with what you're saying. But you know what? That's what makes us fun. Yeah. We'll agree to disagree.
As far as episode 7, I really do think it is going to put the focus on the start of the War of the Pikes.
Yeah,
with the War with the Pikes. We are not going to get a resolution. If you're expecting a resolution, no. There's a long game being played here. I agree with Kevin 100%. He's 100% right. There is a massive long game here being played. I don't think it's quite like MCU where everything that we get is going to be connected to it, because I think we got Andor coming. It's not going to be connected, but I think certain shows and aspects will be. So I think when Book of Boba Fett, this season of it, because I do think they're going to announce the second season, this season of it will end with the start of the War of the Pikes.
My prediction is whatever Boba Fett's endgame is, whether it's uniting the Mandalorians or whatever it is, whenever the big picture is actually in front of us and we've seen it all, I think that people are going to go back on the Book of Boba Fett and rethink how they originally reaction, because there's just too much reaction and not enough, thinking about why it's being told this way. And I think that once it all comes together, I think people's ideas now might change, might be altered.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think there's either view is fine, because the most important thing is we're getting absolutely wonderful Star Wars right now, and that's the bottom line. We are getting wonderful Star Wars. The naming thing is a nitpicking thing. Personally, stands out to me. So it's not a big deal. But you know what? Like I said, I think the one thing, Kevin, you and I agree on: amazing Star Wars, and that's what we truly care about.
Yeah, it is, man. It's been fun, and I can't wait. And by the way, guys, if you're watching this right now, we will be doing another reaction show next week at this time on Thursday night, and we want your thoughts, because it's going to be big, man. I cannot even imagine what our conversation is going to be.
Oh, I can't either. But too, and if you want more of a deep dive into Book of Boba Fett too, again, what a piece of junk. The next episode, we'll be diving deep into episode 6 and going into a lot of details. Join Scott, Derek, and Nathan as they cover everything in every different way for the Book of Boba Fett. That will be out later on, either over the weekend or beginning of next week. As for Culture Clash Live, this is a new thing. Kevin and I are going to be doing it. It's probably going to be kind of random at first, but we are going to, like Kevin said, next episode will probably be the finale of Book of Boba Fett. And I'm going to throw a challenge out to Kevin right now for what a Culture Clash Live should be after that. I feel the need to make Kevin. I feel the need to make some peace.
Peacemaker.
Because you know what? Yes, I really want to taste it.
Yeah, no, we need to talk some Peacemaker, maybe on the season finale or something
exactly,
like that. I'm really loving that show. I can't wait for the new episode tomorrow.
So, of course, too, if you're here on the YouTube channel or you're watching later on, remember to like, subscribe, share it out to your friends. Tell your friends. The YouTube is really something we're trying to. It was our New Year's resolution to get the YouTube channel up and running. So here we are. This show is exclusive to YouTube. There will not be a podcast version of this show. So YouTube is the only place to find it. Yep. And that's going to be going forward as far as Culture Clash Live goes. But if you want to find the Fandom Podcast Network and all the other great shows, go to our master feed at fpnet.podbean.com or search for the Fandom Podcast Network on any of the major podcast catchers out there. Of course, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, the Podbean app. Go to our Facebook page, Fandom Podcast Network. We keep you keep you up to date with everything going on in fandom. You can email us directly at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at Fandom Podcast Network or on Twitter at FanPod Network. I'm Kyle. You can find me on Twitter at AKyleW or on Instagram at AKyleFandom. Kevin, where can people find you on the social medias?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_Phoenix. And I just want to touch real quick on what Jedi Jones says. If Mando Season 2 Backdoor piloted 3 shows, Boba, Ahsoka, and Luke, come on, Skywalker Academy. It's right there, right there. This show was a season opener to those. There's a lot of fans screaming for that, and that would be an interesting show.
Yeah, and it looks like Jedi Jones is going to be all in for Peacemaker. And okay. Ghostbusters, you know what? Don't worry, we're going to be doing more of this, and it'll be on the YouTube channel for you to watch.
That's my buddy Chris. What's up, buddy? What's going on? Good to see you, man.
I want to thank all you listeners out there, the people who joined us for this first and definitely not last edition of YouTube exclusive Culture Clash Live. We will be back next week to discuss Book of Boba Fett Chapter 7 and have a big discussion, I think, on what's going to happen next in the Star Wars universe, Kevin.
I hope we get another live action person that we weren't expecting to see. I hope we get that. That would be awesome. We got Cad Bane. We'll see where that goes.
Can we get some Hondo?
Yeah.
I'm ready for some live action Hondo.
Thank you guys in the chat, by the way. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We appreciate the support. And please come back next week. Yeah. And please also, too, this weekend, the What a Piece of Junk guys are going to be doing a deep dive into this episode. So make sure you check them out.
And just to throw everybody out there who is with us right now or in the future, Culture Clash Lives will probably most of the time be at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific when we do them. Kind of a target area for them, unless something just breaks and we want to hit it right then and there. But until next time, guys, just like we do on regular Culture Clash, remember always, as the good prophets say, be excellent to each other. And as we say around here, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your fandom. We are out.